Well, greetings, scary monsters. Welcome back to the pull list. I haven't been doing new comic book reviews for quite a while. I just haven't been able to get to the store and buy new books for a few months, so I'm a little bit behind on my my stuff. So allow me to review a few things. A couple of these are a little old. A couple of these are actually a couple months old, and some of these are new. So I'm now playing catch up, and I thought I'd give you some reviews and some stuff I've been picking up in the last couple weeks that I've been interested in. And this review, as always, is brought to you by my publications, Red Knight and Davida. It's a fat novel, and they're available below at the links. You can also support me at Patreon and support my wife too if you feel like it. I don't know, whatever. And here we go. I thought I would start reviewing a whole bunch of these. I got the first two Miss Marvel, A-Force, first two of All New, All Different Avengers. Now that's part of the title, by the way. It's not just an extra description. It's part of the title, which I'm not particularly fond of. And the new #1 of Daredevil. And number 16 of Lumberjanes. This is a few months old. I think they're up to issue 21 now. Plus a special, and I'm very late. I have picked up issue 5. That's how far behind I am. Of Secret Wars. I won't be doing a full review of this until I have all the issues. Then I'll do a review of the entire story altogether. So we're going to wait on that. But that is coming. So let's get started. And I thought I'd begin with Miss Marvel, which I was pretty excited about. This is one of those books that is kind of untouched for the most part from the whole Secret Wars, post-Secret Wars shindig. And we have our original creator still back on it. That's G. Willow Wilson. And let's see, forgive me if I always mess up this creator's name. Let's see, Takeshi Miyazawa and Adrian Aloha. Adrian Aloha is the main artist. And Aloha is one of my favorite current artists right now. But I'll get into that. The book opens with Miss Marvel taking part in an adventure with the Avengers now that she's a member of the team and can't believe it. It's like me working for Marvel, essentially, if that can be explained. And then after that adventure, fighting a giant rat with nunchucks. Let's see, they get back to her life. They've explained that, she's got a whole bunch of things going on. Now she's part of the Avengers. So she's super freaking busy as a teenager and a superhero. To the point where she just recently noticed that Bruno, her would-be kind of guy pal, who might be a boyfriend, has hooked up with somebody else. This girl named Michaela. And it's kind of bugging her through the whole thing. She's completely missed out. And also, another thing she's missed out, that this development project is using her as their symbol. Another thing that's gone past her while she's been busy. Because, I think since the last issue of, Miss Marvel, the world almost ended and rebooted and whatever the hell, comic books do. And she's hooked up with the Avengers. So, you can forgive her for missing out on stuff. This really bugs her. She starts investigating why they're using her name. And it turns out they're a little more suspicious than they previously seemed. Meanwhile, people are getting mad because this development is pushing out a lot of businesses and people who have less income than others. It's kind of your typical, pushing out, the lower income people, to develop condos and shit like that. And they're taking it out on her because they're using her as the symbol. They're not really, I don't know, they seem less mad at the actual development than they are at her. I guess because they feel betrayed. And she kind of escapes that and starts talking to Bruno about what's going on. And he explains in flashback, the issue ends with flashback, explaining how he and Michaela hooked up. Gorgeous art in this, and gorgeous art in this one too. This picks up where we left off, and she digs a little bit further into this group, and they're putting something in food, and it's kind of like taking people over. So they're not as angry or really questioning, the development of what they're doing. Meanwhile, one of her friends has actually become very public about her anti Miss Marvel feelings. Anyway, we get to see her brother again. He's actually interested in a girl. Ooh. We'll see where that develops. And the issue ends with her discovering. Well, first off, this development, like, they're sort of like taking people over in a way, like through mind control, and it's a little suspicious since their eyes glow purple. So I don't know how they're expected to get away with that for so long. I mean, even Trump supporters don't, have glowing eyes or anything like that. So she digs further, and it turns out it's a Hydra plot. Damn Hydra, always interfering. This is excellent fun. I love this book. There's a reason why she's exploded over the last 2 years since her debut. Very, very happy this has not been damaged, and actually even more so improved by the whole reboot thing. And it's nice seeing her balance what's going on in her life, or actually not being able to balance what's going on in her life. She's always busy, so that's kind of cool. I made this comparison before, and I'll do it again. It really does remind me of the early Spider-Man adventures in the late teens, early 20s kind of years for Peter Parker. I mean, without being like a retread or anything like that, it feels very modern. All right, now let's go to A-Force. And very disappointed in this. This has nothing to do with Fonzie. I'm not even a mention, and I'm just stunned. Well, anyway, let's review it. I actually wanted to pick this up because it not only has She-Hulk and Captain Marvel, who are two of my favorite Marvel characters. It's written by G. Willow Wilson of Miss Marvel, and she's quickly growing to be one of my favorite writers, actually. The art is on... Let's see, who does the artist on this? George Molina. Not too familiar with his work. I feel like I've seen that name before. But the work is actually very good. And this centers around Singularity, who is this character, who's this cosmic character, who apparently in Battle World was part of the team of A-Force with all these characters. And now her universe is kind of gone and rebooted, and we have pretty much the same Marvel universe, and no one remembers her. And she's trying to seek them out, because her world is not the world she remembers, and she needs to seek out to her friends. And it's like, the last 20 minutes of It's a Wonderful Life. Like, Mary, don't you know me? And nope, they don't know her. So the problem is also, if that wasn't a big enough problem, she has this guy, Antimatter, following her, trying to kill her off. So she goes to Captain Marvel, and she ends up going to She-Hulk and interrupting her business. That's where she ends up getting arrested by Medusa, who also doesn't recognize her. Very cool so far. I'm definitely picking up the first story arc. I forgot to get RAM chips for the first two Miss Marvels. Those are 5 RAM chips each. Very great. This one I enjoyed it a bunch too. This is 5 RAM chips as well. Nice, good start. And I didn't really pick up A-Force when it was part of Battle World, but I kind of get it. Like, hey, they were part of this other universe, blah blah blah. Everything's forgotten. It's really not hard to jump onto. All right, now let's go to one of the big guns over at Marvel, one of their 18 Avengers books, and this one is called All New, All Different. This is issues 1 and 2, and I was very excited about this because it has Miss Marvel, it has Miles Morales, Iron Man, Vision, the new Thor, and it's written by Mark Waid. So come on, there's so much good shit in that, so I couldn't avoid it. And well, it starts off, apparently Nova is a jerk, and the team, actually there's no official Avengers team at this point. Tony Stark has sold Avengers Tower. He's actually cash broke. Everything's tied up in all his I don't know how rich people are going broke. I don't know how it works, but investments and businesses and stuff like that. He still has money, but not like really like regular money. I don't know how. I don't understand rich people. Anyway, he still has this awesome car, this awesome flying car that turns into an Iron Man suit, which is fantastic. Captain America, the Sam Wilson Captain America, is getting back to work and doing his thing when this character, one of the aliens. Actually, this is actually one of the aliens from the Avengers movie. Actually, not from the direct that alien race. And I think his name is Warbringer. Anyway, Warbringer comes and he starts tearing shit up and he's looking for something on Earth. And he kind of sucks the life out of people, to gain power and to teleport. So they're chasing him all through town because he's trying to get these items. And he's after, some kind of big thing. By the way, I really, really love the transforming car into the Iron Man suit. It's fantastic. I think I've done something like that in one of my stories, now that I think about it. But let's see, we end with him taking out Iron Man, Captain America, and Spider-Man. And we end up with a little backstory of Ms. Marvel meeting Nova. And in narration, they obviously kind of dig each other, but they keep saying the wrong things to each other, thinking the other one hates the other one. And it kind of just fuels the fire the more they go on. Ordinarily, that might be a little annoying, but the narration makes it really kind of like adorable because they're too stupid to kind of figure it out. And a neat thing I thought was cool about the issue 2 cover was we got this cool standard awesome pose for everybody in the Avengers book, and then issue 2 is essentially flipped around where we get to see what they're looking at, and it's actually the same. I noticed it when I started looking at the cover, like they were all kind of in the same positions and pose as Warbringer comes down. That's kind of neat. I don't know if I've seen that before with an issue 2 cover. There was an old Justice League cover that did something similar to that, but that's the closest. Miles Morales, Spider-Man, helps out Captain America and Iron Man, and then the Vision shows up. Another neat thing is not all the team members, have hit at the same time. Actually, the way Wilson is doing A-Force is pretty much the same kind of method. Like we're building the team with these story arcs, which I think is kind of cool. I always think that's probably a better method, especially with these big casts that these books have. This is the issue where Nova and Ms. Marvel kind of enter the whole situation, and they've met previously in the backup story in issue 1, so that's all set up, and they're not really crazy about each other, but they end up working together, and then kind of just get sucked up into this as they fight Warbringer, and the battle takes them underground, and of course, I have not mentioned the fact that there's this mysterious rich guy who bought Avengers Tower. He seems to be involved with bringing in this character. So what he's up to, I'm not too sure. By the way, Thor ends up showing up at the end. And would you think, hey, that's going to be a game changer and save the day? It actually turns out to be the wrong thing because they're underwater and they're under whole bunch of water, so when she breaks open this tunnel, the issue ends with this huge explosion of water coming their way. And I like Adam Kubrick, who is the artist on this. I like the way he depicts all the characters. They all really seem kind of in character. Particularly with Spider-Man and Ms. Marvel, who tenses up and is terrified of what just is happening. Very nice work. I'm going to give the first 2 strong 4 Ram chips. I really enjoyed them. And I felt like I was reading them over and over again. They were just fun superhero stuff. And I enjoyed them quite a bit. Issue 1 of Charles Soule and Ron Garney's Daredevil. And I had made a mistake. I had thought that Daredevil was working with Gambit, and may have been reported online that it was Gambit. This is not Gambit. This is Blind Spot. He looks a shitload like Gambit on this cover. And he has friggin' staff. He is a martial arts character with invisibility powers. Not a bad combination with a blind guy with martial arts powers. Now, of course, I'm not too familiar with everything that's happened with the big changeover with the universe, rebooting itself and stuff like that. So I'm not sure what's canon, what's how, and what's what. But apparently no one knows Matt Murdock is Daredevil anymore. And I'm gonna, that's kind of the gorilla in the room here, or elephant. No, it's the elephant in the room. I'm not sure how I feel about that. That's one of the things I really loved about Daredevil over the last few years, that they never had some magic character snap their fingers and everybody forgot he was Daredevil. He was dealing with it, and he was dealing with it in a really cool, realistic way, in a way I hadn't seen before. So I'm missing that. I will admit that. I don't know if that's Soul's idea or what have you, but to be honest, since we had a big reboot, I guess that is something that can be expected to be changed or something like that. So, I'm not totally against it just yet, but, it doesn't excite me. I do like Daredevil's new costume a lot. I know people will probably scoff at it, but I really dig the black and the red. I like the little pointy things on his Daredevil logo. I just think it looks awesome. And there are little touches here and there that I think make it really interesting. I also find interesting artistically Garney's very little use of color. It's very, I don't know, there's maybe 3 colors in this book. It's mostly black and red. It reminds me a little bit of when Greg Rucka was working on Detective Comics. It was very toned down colors, and often the main color had something to do with the plot or the theme or a character or something like that. Like they did a black and green issue of Detective Comics, and Poison Ivy was the villain. And then they did another one of Mad Hatter using tainted coffee to poison people. And in the 2-part story, it was black and coffee color. It was really, really cool. I know people bitched about it, but they were wrong, because it was a really cool artistic choice. And right here, we have pretty much black and red. I'm really kind of digging it. It definitely changes the feel and tone, because the comic had really taken on kind of a more fun tone over the last few years during the Mark Waid years. And this does seem to be taking it back to a more dark and serious and grim and gritty. I hope it's done well. I don't like grim and gritty for the sake of grim and gritty, much like fun and stupid, just for the sake of being fun and stupid. It kind of goes both ways. Grim and gritty automatically doesn't make something better or more mature. So you kind of have to earn it. Well, so far, I like the beginnings of it. No one seems more upset than they need to be. So I do like the beginnings of this. It's nice kind of. It's a nice kind of good action piece. This mainly deals with Matt Murdock getting involved with this group called the 10 Fingers, this gang that's kind of like making their appearance in New York City, and kind of like taking over blocks and here and there, particularly in Hell's Kitchen. He is now a prosecutor. Now he's switched jobs. There's no real explanation for that. Outside of that, it has happened. So I assume that story will be developed as we go in the next few issues to explain what's going on. He and Foggy aren't working together, apparently, again. Will those two ever get along? And we get to meet our villain at the end of this, who is named 10 Fingers, and he literally has 10 fingers. He's like Evil Horse, where oh, you think that's a name, and no, it's actual. That's the thing. I do love his Manos-like lair that has all these hands on it. Okay, I get it. You're a big hand guy. I'm not in love with the character, although he's very well drawn. He might be creepy, so hopefully that's done well. But I'm going to give this one 4 Ram Chips. I really love the art. The action, pacing, the dialogue and character. Charles Soule is very good at it. So, I still have some kind of things I'm a little unsure of, but it's Daredevil, so it's still enjoyable as hell. So, good strong 4 Ram Chips on this. Now, this issue is months ago old. I'm been far behind on my Lumberjanes right here from Boom. And Lumberjanes is from Noel Stevenson and Shannon Waters. This one's illustrated by Brooke Allen. They have a few illustrators here and there. This one's from Brooke Allen. And this picks up during a story arc where Rosie's best friend from childhood has come, and she started hunting down the mythical beasts in the forest, and she's looking for big game. So she's decided to try and stop her. Her friend Abby feels like she's doing everyone a favor because she feels like these creatures are endangering the lives of the girls in the camp. We get some nice, good flashback of them as kids, as well as Bear Woman, who apparently was their camp counselor before she became a bear woman. She was still a bitch back then. But it's really interesting to see how their relationships have been over the years. The gang, the Lumberjanes, actually catch up with them, with Rosie and Bear Woman deciding to go after Abby and stop her. Spoiler warning, they do not. So the beast is really crazy when we get to see it at the end of this issue. It's this giant like lizard, like serpent with multiple arms and a giant elephant head with long teeth. It looks kind of like almost something you'd see out of like Indian folklore, not like American Indian folklore, like Indian folklore, or maybe we mixed with American Indian folklore. I'm not too sure. It's very cool looking, very ancient and very mythic looking, and not in the cool superhero way mythic looking. It's really exciting. I wish I'd picked up issue 17 when I had the chance. I'm going to give this one 5 RAM chips. Enjoyed this one a lot. And I'm very curious to see what happens when they meet this beastie thing. That is it for now. I'll still be playing catch-up with the pull list for the next few episodes, so please forgive me if these issues aren't brand new. So, with that said, push the button, Lindsay.